I personally believe the entire model is broken.
Yeah, it's entirely broken. I'm going to agree with you. You want me to keep going?
Give me your perspective, sure.
Well, I mean, the whole system, the whole accounting system is broken. It's built on a flawed belief that hours equates dollars somehow, and that's fundamentally flawed. And then they built the entire system around it.
Right.
So what that has led to is like the third-hand smoke of it being on every surface, but it's invisible, but it's everywhere, contaminating all the surfaces inside the accounting firm. And it causes generalism. So when you bill by the hour, it doesn't matter what kind of work you do or who you do it for. It doesn't matter how slow you do it, right? You can have, like, we might as well just go back to pencils and dial up. You get paid more. So the incentives are backwards and screwed up and effectively, forgive me, screw the client. So there's that. And then there's this whole like measuring of realization rates. So if you have an 80% realization rate, you still have a 20% getting stiffed rate. I don't know why accountants are measuring that and why they think like as 80% realization rate's a good thing. All my clients get paid up front, always. They don't start work until they're paid.
Right.
There's all kinds of the way that hourly billing has messed up, not just the accounting industry, but the minds of accountants whose self-esteem so often and confidence is in the tank because unbeknownst to them, to no fault of their own, the better they get, the less they get paid. The better they get, the less money they make. All the craziness of like having clients all over the map, accepting referrals from willy-nilly, left, right, and center, generalism, no systems, no efficiency, because it didn't matter when you were billing by the hour.
Right.
So now they've been in it for 30 years and they're barely cracking taking home 150K. And they're like, why do I suck so bad at business?
Right.
And they're internalizing it and making it about themselves instead of questioning the business model and the thinking that they were handed by the accounting industry.
Yeah.
So that's what I think the real tragedy is that accountants suffer the like self-esteem and confidence that's plummeted through no fault of their own. They were just handed a lousy business model and they had no way of knowing that they got handed a fundamentally flawed way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. And this comes back to like the way, I mean, I learned this. Have you ever heard of the 4 levels of monetization by any chance? Again, I teach this to all my business clients and accountants and fractional CFOs. So the first level of monetization, if you think about a staircase, is implementation, right? Mm-hmm. Implementation is where you work with your hands, pretty much. I mean, we all start there. We're all there. If there's like my mom is a hairdresser, she's an implementation. Somebody who works with their hands, like Starbucks barista, McDonald's, car wash. These people are not bad. This is just the way the world works. And at that stage, at the first stage, at the implementation stage, you can't break maybe around $60,000 to $80,000 to $100,000 a year, no matter how hard you work, because it's time for money.
Yep.
We all start there, and the next level is unification. Is where you hire, right? You get people under yourself. But again, if you're doing the same work, there's a bunch of problems there. You got to manage a lot of people, salaries, there's costs, expenses, things like that. This is like where most businesses live. And they probably, maybe around $200,000 to $500,000 is where they stand. And again, all the costs are eating up all the profit margins. And the cap there again is like maybe $300,000 to $400,000 per se. And then there's something called the third level of monetization is where the quantum leap can happen. And again, I understood that from corporate even. There's the reason why, in corporate finance, for example, the more higher up we went, we did less doing, we did more talking. Right? We just use our mouth. Right, advising, communicating the value, and that value is in there, and it's captured. Like you make way more money doing that, and that level is what that third level of value or third level of monetization is called communication. And with communication, you can have a quantum leap of like 100,000 to 100 million. Like that's where that leap happens. It's crazy, and this is like for marketing, for sales, and for delivery. Because you by yourself, this is the reason why, like, for example, presidents, any singer that you listen to, they all do one-to-many, for example, like sales, right? It's one person. It doesn't matter. Like even me and you are talking here. If we have 1,000 more people coming in here, I'm not going to work harder, but the growth is exponential.
Yeah.
And then the one after that is after communication is imagination, is where you can come up with ideas. Ideas, and again, one simple idea can just turn everything around for you. But and then after that, after imagination is obviously God. So if we look around again, like this pen, this phone, I don't care what it is that you have around you. God created you, you imagined it, then you communicated it, then you got people together and they did it.
Yeah.
Most people, they spend their times in implementation and unification. They spend most of their times.
Yeah.
But like, believe it or not, what you're helping people do is like, okay, let me help you get down all these hours so you can start spending more time in communication and imagination.
Yes.
Because so many people, they're sitting in pecking keyboards. They don't have the time or the ability to raise up their mind or their eyes and just imagine a different world. So anyway, this is like, that's that. And I think it's a really cool concept or a cool way of looking at things. So 100%, this is good. So business model broken, 100% agree.